All right, shalom, shalom. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, shalom, shalom. Testing 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. All right, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start off this lesson by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. All right, and I've taught them this word in truth and sincerity. Peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000. That's also pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. All right, I'm your fellow servant Amoth of GMX Toronto, coming at you again with another live lesson. And it's going to be another edition of Doomsday Prophecies. And I have so much I want to get into because there's so much that's going on. But Spirit was on me to get into these two topics, as you see. The evil schemes of the wicked, and demonization. Okay, evil schemes of the wicked and demonization. So, and they both tie hand in hand together, obviously, because a part of the evil schemes of the wicked being Esau, Edom. That's the biblical nationality of the so-called white man, starting with Amalek at the top. That's the top nation or the top tribe of the nation of Esau, Edom. So a part of their schemes, okay, not only is to bring about the New World Order by the way of the chip, the MOTB, which is the microchip, but it's also to demonize everybody that's against that New World Order, starting with the prophets, because at the very top, the global elite, they know that we have the truth. They watch all our videos. They have technology where, and maybe Lord willing, I'll do a lesson on that sometime this week on Project Looking Glass. Okay, Project Looking Glass, where they tap into all alternative timelines in the future to see if they can escape their judgment. Okay, and so they know their future, they know who we are. So that's also part of the evil scheme. So with all that being said and everything that's happening, for us, all right, I'm talking about sincere believers, men, women, and children of Yahweh Bashim Shai. We just need to continue watching, obviously, for the prophets, continue prophesying. But with all that as well is build up our faith. As we're seeing all these prophecies manifest more and more as we get closer and closer to our hour of temptation and the destruction of Babylon the Great, aka America, which is synonymous with the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai. We need to continue to build up our faith. Okay, it's all about building your faith, because as the faith is built up, everything else, all right, that will leak into everything else, like the fear of the Lord, your diligence, right, and basically working out your salvation with fear and trembling, right, and all diligence. Now, I want to open up with this precept. We always get this, and like Apostle Tahar said, man, things are happening so fast and so much that a lot of the videos now we're going to be doing, okay, it's just going to be quick hits. Okay, because prophecy is speaking, so we don't really need to speak that much anymore. So that also shows you the family of the word. But this is Ephesians 6 and 10, okay? Because we have to constantly remind one another, and you sincere brothers and sisters out there, yeah, this is a spiritual battle. Don't get caught up in the frenzy of everything that's happening. Even though we're going to be in the midst of it, we have to understand this is a spiritual battle, okay? And I got a couple clips, 2 clips I'm going to get into that's actually going to expound on that. So this is, and I'll yeah, okay. No, it's okay. Yeah, keep it in King James. It says armor of God, right? Ephesians 6 and 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai, and in the power of his might. Okay. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Okay. And in the NLT, it says, put on all of Yahweh Bashim Shai's armor so that you will be able to stand firm, okay, against all the strategies of the devil, right? Which devil means deceiver, the spiritual demon Satan, His physical counterpart on earth are the Edomites, okay, starting with Amalek on down. Um, the whole armor of the Lord is talking about this doctrine, getting 100% understanding of the Heavenly Father's word, okay, which is contained in the Bible, which is the Bible. Okay, so why are we to do that? It's because what this devil, all right, what these top wicked elites, which they're devils, are doing is they're shaking things up, right? Psyop after psyop, psyop after psyop, having people mentally and emotionally unstable and spiritually unstable, right? Um, it's instead of guerrilla warfare, okay, it's guerrilla propaganda. And I guess you could say it's guerrilla warfare too, because they're coming at all angles. Okay, so for us, all right, and that's spiritual, that's a part of their witchcraft. For us, we're to arm ourselves with the complete understanding of the Heavenly Father's word so that what? We can stand firm. What's supposed to stand firm? Our faith. No matter what comes down the pipe, no matter what happens to us, is our faith, right? Stand firm against all the strategies of the devil. All right. Continuing on, it says, verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, right? Against powers and against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And you know, that's paramount. Okay, that's what's taking place is spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay, and you've seen it, and it's just going to manifest even more, more and more. And these people out here are not going to know what the hell to do. They're going to be bugging out. This is going to manifest to such an extreme, okay, as the prophecy dictates, that they're going to be eating their own children. They're going to be eating their own kids, okay, eating their own children, eating each other, okay, devouring each other in all shape. And then you have animals who are going to be out here, right? The beasts of the field are going to get out here, get busy. All right. You got spiritual apparitions. Demons are going to get busy because they know that their time of rulership is almost up. Scripture say the devil's going to come down having great wrath, for he knoweth he had a short time. Okay. So this is all spiritual, man. Even everything we're going through in our individual lives, of course, it's a spiritual battle. You know, it's a spiritual battle first, and then it'll manifest in the physical. Okay, so we got to arm ourselves with this truth, with this doctrine, because when Yahweh Shah was at his lowest point after his fast, 40-day fast, all right, Satan came to him at the end at the fast, right? So that's when he was his most hungry and or most famished. And what did Yahweh Shah use, all right, to fight against Satan spiritually? The scriptures. So he was fully armed with the word with the word of the Most High Yahweh. So we ought to do the same thing. Satan's going to come to us at our lowest point as well. Okay. Continuing on, it says, "Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh Bashem Shai, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day." Evil means bad time, right? So this is also synonymous or a precept that links up with Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, and the fear of the Lord, right? Which goes into obedience, is going to be his treasure. Because while everybody's running around, the majority of people are going to be running around like a chicken with their head cut off, not knowing what to do or what's coming next. Okay, the elect, the hopeful elect, are going to be divinely instructed by Yahweh Bashem El Shai, where to go, what to say, you know, and what to do. Okay, and that's treasure, man. It says, especially in the time of confusion, it says, "Ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, right, to stand, stand therefore, and having done all to stand," right? Which means, listen, when this grace spirit shuts, okay, you want in your mind, you don't want no regrets with your walk in this ministry. You want to have done everything you could have done in terms of all your energy, like the law says, love the Lord, right? Yahweh Shah consolidated all the laws into two laws. Love the Lord with all your heart, mind, and soul, roughly paraphrasing, and love the brethren as you love yourself. So, you know, loving the Lord with all your might, mind, heart, and soul is putting your all into this. This is our life. This is who we are. This is our identity. So, like it says, having done all to stand, right? NLT, it says, therefore, put on every piece of Yahweh Bashim Shai's armor, so you will be able to resist the enemy in a time of evil. Then after the battle, you will stand, you will still be standing firm. That's right. Yeah, because only the elect are gonna overcome. All right, Esau and the spiritual demon Satan. Okay, and this wicked society. It says, verse 14 in the King James, stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth. Okay, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. Okay, it says, and that's what, again, Isaiah 33:6. That's what this is basically going into. All right. Um, having your loins girded, right? So basically, in modern day terms, having a belt, you put on a belt to make sure the pants you have on stay around your waist tight. Well, that's like this truth. This truth, all right, should be wrapped around your mind tightly. The scriptures say, hold fast to that which thou hast, right? So that no man may take thy crown. Roughly paraphrasing. That means to hold tightly, okay? Being diligent. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and the loins of our mind, right? Girded about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Okay. It says, verse 16, above all, okay, and this is why I mentioned faith, above all, everything I just read, above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all fiery darts of the wicked. So ultimately, what's going to get the elect through, the whole full elect through these evil and trying times is their faith in Yahweh Bashim Shai. Through everything that they have endured and applied and learned in their time of or in the grace period, okay, it's going to strengthen their faith so that they can overcome, all right, this devil. NLT says, in addition to all these, hold up the shield of faith to stop the fiery arrows of the devil. Let's look up that word. Fiery darts. Okay, so fiery, right? In the Greek.
Strong's G 4448. Porao. Porao.
Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. It just says fire in to burn with fire, to set on fire, kindle. Yeah, because hey, that's what's gonna happen to Babylon the Great. It's gonna be set on fire, aka America, via what? World War III, ICBM missiles, man. All right, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay, and through their faith, right? The just to live by their faith. Through their faith in Yahweh Shemel Shai, the elect are going to overcome this world, man, this wicked society, and get beamed up. Okay, escaping those fiery darts. But as well, let's just want to see if there's anything else here. Refined. Da, 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 da. Because we know this devil has a burning hatred for Jake, starting with the prophets. Yeah, okay, it's pretty straightforward. But I want to add that spiritually, the fiery darts spiritually is that demonization. Okay, let's see what darts says in the Greek.
Strong's G 956. Belos. Belos.
Yeah,
Thayer's
so
Lexicon. Second entry. Belane. Belane.
yeah, so a missile. Look at that. A missile, dart, javelin, arrow. So a missile. Ultimately, that's what we want to escape, right? It's destruction that's coming, right? And with this whole thing with Iran, all right, and the supreme leader being allegedly right? He's dead. And we're right around the door. Okay, what is that? Ezekiel 38 and 39 is right around the door, man. I went into the etymology for the word dart.
Strong's G 906. Balo.
Right.
Balo.
Now, remember I said earlier about how these devils are using their witchcraft and guerrilla propaganda, or you can call it guerrilla warfare as well, to what? As it says here, the definition, to throw or let go of a thing without caring where it falls. But it says here, to scatter, right? To throw, cast into, to give over to one's care, uncertain about the results. Okay, yeah. All right. But the point here I wanted to touch on is to scatter. Okay. To scatter. Let me see something here real quick. I'll go back here, finish up this precept, and I want to get that term I keep using. Forgot where I heard it, but it's definitely a thing. Guerrilla propaganda. It says, I'll finish this up. So Ephesians 6 and 17 says, and take the helmet of salvation, okay, and the sword of the Spirit, okay, which is the word of Yahweh Bashem Shai. Praying always, man. You should not go through the day without praying multiple times, man. Okay, unless you're there's no reason. There's no reason, right? So praying always with all prayer and supplication in the spirit and watching thereunto, right? We're watching thereunto. Apostle Dahar always quotes, you miss a day, you miss a lot. Watching thereunto with all perseverance, because at the same time as we're watching, we're still being tried. Okay, we're still being uh, um, yeah, I'll use the word tormented with demons, evil spirits, right? We're fighting our everyday, every day we get up and we're fighting temptations, we're fighting demons. So, but at the same time, we're watching. Okay, so watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And for me, that utterance may be given unto me that I may open my mouth boldly. Yeah, so that's the point. The point's really in 17 or 18. Okay, so all right, so let's play these clips. A little bit of a long intro. Let me get this word though. Hey, chat, what is propaganda, or rather, guerrilla propaganda? Let's see what I get. Okay. Yeah. See, I knew it was a real thing. I just forgot where I heard that from, but a while ago. Yeah. So you see here, it says guerrilla propaganda is persuasion that doesn't march in uniform. It moves in shadows. It's the use of unofficial, unconventional, low resource tactics to shape public perception, often without people realizing they're being influenced. This is why we gotta stay in this truth, right? That's why I opened up with arming ourselves, all right, putting on the full armor of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Okay. It says, think Think less press conference, more whispers on the wind. And as you see, it says what it looks like. So what it looks like, guerrilla propaganda shows up as anonymous flyers, viral memes, street art, graffiti, flash protests, fake grassroots movements, astro what is that? Astroturfing. I don't know what the hell that is. What the fuck is that? Let's look that up. Damn. You can't even get the audio for this? Oh, there we go.
Astroturfing. Astroturfing.
Astroturfing. Okay. It says the deceptive practice of presenting an orchestrated marketing or public relation campaign in the guise of unsolicited comments from members of the public. Okay, cool. So it says here culture jamming, twisting ads, slogans, symbols, leaks, and rumor campaigns, boots or bots posing as ordinary people online. That's funny. Yeah, we have that, you know. AI, that's AI. It thrives where trust is thin and attention is short. And are we not in that time where trust is thin and attention is very, very short? Okay, and that's the part of the witchcraft of these devils, these global elites. Okay, top wicked elite using guerrilla propaganda, right? Methods behind it. It borrows its spirit from guerrilla warfare, right? So on one side, guerrilla warfare, you have ambush, guerrilla propaganda, surprise messaging, small units, anonymous actors, hit and run, viral burst, blend and blends with civilians, blends with culture, avoids direct battle, avoids official debate. Okay, yeah, so you get the point. I'll just get this last couple bit here. It says core traits: decentralized, decentralized, no obvious leader, plausibility deniable, um, hard to trace, emotion driven. So complete confusion. I'm not gonna go through all this. You can go through all this, look it up yourself, guerrilla propaganda, if you want more insight on it. But this is where it's used. It says political movements, activist cause, political movements, activist causes, state and non-state actors, marketing campaigns, ideological struggles. And this is what we're in. We're in a time of ideological uh, struggles and everybody's ideology is clashing. Okay, which is exactly what the elites want because they use that tactic, Hegelian, it's a Hegelian dialectic, problem reaction solution, right? Okay, so let's get this video. This first video, okay, this is fair use, fair use. I am not receiving any monetization for this video. I'm only sharing this video for educational purposes only. Fair use, fair use, fair use. And this is from, if you want to watch the whole thing, I won't be playing the whole thing, just snippets. It's called Top Illuminati Grand Wizard Albert Pike. We control Islam and we'll use it to destroy the West. World War III. Okay, and this is from We Won't We Won't Get Fooled Again. That's the channel. There's a lot of clips on that channel. Let me slow it down and we'll play this video. Okay.
Video will cover Grand Wizard Albert Pike's three. This video will cover Grand Wizard Albert Pike's 3 World War predictions, which are quite frankly stunning. But first, I want to give a background on the person who exposed the Illuminati's preparations for World War III and how they plan to use Islam to destroy the West. A secret diary was released by a man with information about elitist organizations and the New World Order. This diary documents that the Illuminati already knows what is going to happen for World War III. It's already mapped out. The agenda is already set. The diary that exposes this agenda belonged to a man named William Carr, who was born in 1895. Carr entered into Canada's Royal Navy at a very young age and
We're gonna skip ahead. I just want to get that a little bit of an introduction to the point. All right, right about here.
Pike's letter ironically also detailed the specifics of the first 2 wars with stunning accuracy, suggesting that he knew before time the details surrounding each of the wars. World War I, according to Pike, would be fought to overthrow the czars in Russia and change Russia into a communist state. The Second World War would be fought for 2 reasons: to establish the State of Israel and to expand communist control over Europe. The Third World War
And, as she's going through this, right, they planned this, hence going to the evil schemes of the wicked. You have to understand, though, which we know this already, the Most High put these schemes in their heart, in their mind, to fulfill His will. Okay, everything that's going on is the will of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. Um, His name is Yahweh. Okay, so He put it in their minds to fulfill these plans. Okay, this is Proverbs. Man, come on now, where is this? King's heart? It has to be Proverbs 21, I think. Yes, oh, the water Yahweh Shai. Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Okay. The scripture says, verse 2, every way of a man is right in his own eyes. All right. And these top wicked elite, what they're doing, they don't, it's crazy, but they don't foresee, even though they have seen it, they still think that they're going to get away with what they're doing. It's crazy, right? Even though they've looked into the future and seen alternative timelines and still see the same outcome, no matter no matter what approach they take, it's still the same outcome. They still think they're going to get away with what they're doing, but that's because the Most High is controlling them. He's fulfilling, or he's using them to fulfill His will on the left hand side, as the scriptures say. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh. As the rivers of water, He turneth it whithersoever He will. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the heart. So the Most High is in control, man. All right, and you've been given these secrets to know this, so that we don't get caught up in the frenzy and the wiles, which is the evil strategies, the schemes of this devil. Okay. NLT says the king's heart is like a stream of water directed by the Lord. He guides it wherever he pleases. People may be right in their own eyes, but the Lord Yahweh examines their heart. Right. Let's continue on.
Will be what allows the Novus Ordo Seclorum to rise out of the dust. According to Pike, Islam will be the central factor in the downfall of the West. Islam will be decimated in the process, allowing for the new religion of pure Luciferianism to spread on the earth. All Muslims will fall for this system. There isn't a single Muslim on earth who will not partake in the religion of the New World Order, according to Pike. Islam is merely a tool to destroy the Christian West. That's it. That's all it is. It's a tool. That's what they said hundreds of years ago. The master plan to use Islam was kicked off in 2001 when the fear of Americans was taken advantage of by an esoteric cabal lurking in the shadows. In his inaugural address, George W. Bush proclaimed that an angel would ride the whirlwind and direct the storm.
So these devils know Wagwan. These devils know Wagwan. Okay, as we've been telling you. Forgive me, I'm in a camp full of Benjamites, so comes out once in a while.
Master plan was unveiled in 2001 for World War III. They started Albert Pike's blueprint when they flew 2 planes into the World Trade Centers and blamed it on Islam. The storm that would come and the angel that would bring it were long-awaited prophetic fulfillments. And as Albert Pike, Grand Wizard of the Craft, had predicted, Islam would be the choice religion to use to foment a crisis between it and the West that would only get worse. What is the common factor every time you see a crisis? Who's behind it? Islam. And they want you to believe it's organically an issue of Islam. This was planned hundreds of years ago, and they have quite a plan for Islam. The esoteric cabal is using Islam to achieve the great work. It's all been mapped out. We've seen what they're doing with the migrant crisis. We've seen what they've done in England with the Sharia courts and on.
Yep. And this reminds you, I don't know, I kind of went away for a bit, but she, I'm pretty sure she explained that they've been playing this from centuries, man, past 1800s. Okay.
And on and on. They're using Islam to stir the pot. The system has to come down. It has to topple. Islam will be used for the ultimate goal, and that is to fully usher in the Luciferian capstone. They're going to keep using it to destroy Western Christianity, Western culture. It's going to happen, and there's really nothing you can do about it except to pray. That's it. That's what we're called to do.
Yeah. Anyways, let it go.
It's been predicted. They've known about this since at least the late 1800s, and even earlier than that, I think. All world wars have been mapped out. The third and the last one was already written in the books. You have no control over this. This is a battle between principalities and powers and dominions.
Yeah, and I already read that, opened up with that, but you see, right? This is something that's been uh, planned by these devils for a while, but it's really the Most High's plan because he's actually, as I read that scripture, he's the one that is controlling the minds of these devils, man. These these wicked elites. So let's go to Psalm 64, and I'm gonna tie this to the demonization, right? Um, as to what happened just recently with Iran. So this is Psalm 64 and 1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David, hear my voice, O Yahweh, Bahashim El Shah, my prayer, or in my prayer, preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Right? And what are we hidden in? We're hidden in this truth, in this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, which comes with a lot of, I want to say perks and benefits, but all the perks and benefits. And what I mean by that is we're going to have divine, the hopeful elect, Yahweh, above that number, we're going to have divine interventions, divine protection, angels, right, are going to protect us. Okay. Some men are going to have spiritual powers. Multiple dreams have already been had. How about that? Okay. That's the part of the elect being hidden. Okay. Basically being covered by the Lord, Yahweh Bashem El Shai. Okay. And by Yahweh Shai's blood. Okay. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. Okay, demonization, propaganda, right? And it says that they may shoot in secret, right, through their propaganda and their psyops at the perfect, being the prophets, right? Starting with the prophets, the 144,000 on down. Okay, the whole full elect. Okay, and all you rebellious Israelites that know you're Israelites, and you're gonna get caught up. You're either gonna die or you're gonna take a chip and then you're gonna die. But nevertheless, you're gonna be caught up. It says suddenly they do shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. Okay, they commune of laying snares privately or privily. They say, "Who shall see them?" Okay, but now we're in a time where this devil is being exposed first and foremost by the prophets. All right, the true prophets of Yahweh Shemel Shai, the first and second witness, but also by their own Edomite, fellow Edomite, all right, as the elder Yeshua always coins the third witness. Okay, so it says they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, right? An example of that, okay, a major example of that is these wars, World War One, World War Two, and what we're about to embark in is World War Three, what's about to take place. All right, and this has been going on for centuries. They've been plotting this for centuries. So that's a diligent search, as it says. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. Okay, and hey, I was watching this, and this is from the elder of GMS LA, Mawatazak. Salak, if I'm mispronouncing your word, your name. But he brought up a testimony of the U.S. Army vet, about 30 years veteran, and he had so much clearance that he had to get chipped, right? So they can track and watch everything he does and says. But he was giving out some testimonies on testimonials on what they have underground, right, in their underground cities and bunkers, right? and the beings, right? The monsters that they've created. Basically, he described them as, I'm just bring this out as an example illustration for both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. And they got monsters like in human tissue, or human tissue, regular tissue, but it's really a drone. So we're getting ready. This devil is going to pull out all his magic tricks, because again, the scriptures say, "For he knoweth he has a short time." So if you're not rooted, if your faith is not rooted in Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai, which is tied to this doctrine, the true doctrine, you're going to be uprooted by the wiles of this devil and his evil strategies. Okay. And the NLT says, as they plot their crimes, they say, we have devised the perfect plan. Yes, the human heart and the mind are cunning. Yeah. So it says, verse 7, but Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded, right? And that's talking about ultimately the ICBM missiles to destroy America. Okay, but the spiritual arrow is the truth. Okay, that the prophets are speaking, the true prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai. Because that's what's exposing this devil, man. Now you see all these third witnesses using the talking points of the prophets, using our talking points, starting with the apostles and bishops on down. Okay, so the Lord is putting them out on the forefront and taking his and pulling his prophets back slowly. Okay, it's about to get crazy. It's about to get crazy. It says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, and all men shall fear and shall declare the work of Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai. Why? Because it was proclaimed and prophesied before it happened. Okay, and that's going to give glory to the name of Yahweh and his only begotten Son Yahweh Shai. For they shall wisely consider his doing. Okay. NLT says, then everyone will be afraid. They will proclaim the mighty acts of Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai and realize all the amazing things he does. Right? Last verse. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord Yahweh and shall trust in them and him. Why are we going to be glad? Because everything we suffered and been prophesying about came to pass. Okay? And we're going to be perfected. The whole elect are going to be perfected with new bodies and rulership and righteousness. All right, it's going to be a minister on earth. New Jerusalem coming down from heaven, which is a chariot. Okay, so-called UFO. And shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. That's right, man. So let's get this next clip. Now, tying this to the demonization aspect, right? So this is from Fox News. It's fair use, fair use. I'm not receiving any monetization for this video. Okay, I'm just sharing this video for educational purposes only. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Bring this in now. I've been telling everybody about the Austin mass shooter, and now we have some breaking news. I want to bring this in now. I've been telling everybody about the Austin mass shooter, and now we have a picture. And this is what we're finding.
Look at this nigga, bro. All right, but hey, as you see, property of Allah.
Now, from multiple federal law enforcement sources to our own Bill Malusian, the Austin mass shooter is a 53-year-old naturalized U.S. citizen who was born in Senegal and was living in Pflugerville, Texas.
Naturalized, right? This is a part of the words that they use to wage deception on the minds of the people. Because what is that linked to, right? It links to, we don't know who's who and what's what, so we need to know who's who and what's what by a digital ID. All roads lead to the MOTB, brothers and sisters. All roads lead to the MOTB. Everything we're experiencing, because World War III will not come until the MOTB, all right, is made mandatory. So the term, right, the term naturalized refers to the process by which a non-citizen acquires citizenship of a country, typically after fulfilling specific legal requirements. In the context of Canada, a naturalized citizen is I don't know why he gave me context of Canada, but that's okay. A naturalized citizen is someone who has applied for and been granted Canadian or American citizenship through the naturalization process, which involves meeting criteria such as being a permanent resident and demonstrating language proficiency and passing a citizenship test on Canadian history and values, right? So again, he was naturalized, so he wasn't born in America, okay, but he became an American citizen. But look what he did. Look what he did. How can you be naturalized and then this happens? This is going to cause alarm, all right, and incentive, okay, to track and trace people once again, but digitally, okay. All roads lead to the MOTV digitally.
Material recovered from his person and multiple federal law enforcement sources to our own Bill Malusian. The Austin mass shooter is a 53-year-old naturalized U.S. citizen who was born in Senegal and was living in Pflugerville, Texas. Material recovered from his person and inside the vehicle give possible indications of a nexus to terrorism, as the FBI announced earlier today. And remember what we said he had in his possession and was also wearing. The shooter was wearing clothing that said Allah on it. His sweater said property of Allah. And there's also known to be an undershirt with an Iranian flag and other materials inside. And remember what Representative Michael McCall of Texas just told me last hour. He said, Harris, in my own backyard, just last night, we had an event that possibly could have been terror-inspired right here in Austin, Texas. This is what he was talking about. Brett, I was reminding Americans, this is not a new place for us to be in terms of keeping our heads on a swivel, but it bears repeating. We've lost Americans in the fight on the battlefield, and protecting the homeland now is also something that we must be on the alert. Now, authorities have not tied this Austin situation to what's happening in the Middle East as terror related to that, but they are investigating it just moments ago, confirming as a possible terror attack. Your reaction?
Well, we have to remain vigilant. I mean, Khamenei, he was a religious figure. We don't know if this attack was associated, but it very well may.
And keep in mind, IUIC, right, under the 501 C3 charter, okay, tax exemption, they enrolled themselves as Islam, as Muslims, under Islam. Not under Hebrew, this is why, not under Hebrew Israelites, but as Islam. Of course, they're going to come under Hebrew Israelites. Thought we wouldn't allow that. But they have categorized themselves under Islam. So the stage has been set, all the necessary traps have been set, and those that slighted this great spirit and slighted the words of Yahweh Bashim El Shai, which was spoken by the prophets, and scoffed and mocked, you're through. If you're not the hopeful, you're completely through. You're completely through. You're set. You've been set up, and you're about to be duped. Okay, and Yahweh Bashim El Shai is not going to hear your prayers. He's not going to hear you calling on his name. None of that. Because Jake only wants to get right when they're in trouble instead of getting right when the Lord gives grace. The Lord's not dealing with that. So the hell with 2/3 of Israel right now. Okay, and you, especially starting with your rebellious Israelites, all right, that know your Israel, starting at the leaders.
But the fact is, this isn't a representation of how most people from that region feel. The Iranian people, they fear their own rulers more than our own military. They hate, their own oppressive rulers than anyone else. And we may see more attacks like this. We have to be vigilant. There are proxy groups everywhere that are looking for ways to harm Americans and hurt Americans. And the fact of the matter is, overall, there are images right now showing most Iranians and most Shias celebrating today, not because of war, but because they hate their own rulers more than anyone else. That's a sign that we're striking, not just at their military, we're striking at the legitimacy of a brutal regime. The Iranian people want better relationships with the West. They have the potential to be our biggest ally. I think it's important we collectively separate the terrorist regime from that of the majority Iranian people. These people have spent decades, trying to hurt us. And so the fact is, again, we just need to remain vigilant in the wake of these strikes.
Look, I don't want to make too much out of this because the FBI and federal authorities have to do their jobs and tell us what the facts are with this particular case. But you are looking at on your screen right now, the man that they suspect to be the Austin, Texas shooter. And he is 53 years old. And I don't know if you had seen this as well. There were all sorts of descriptions about age, but now we know some specificity. He's 53-year-old American citizen, naturalized, originally from Senegal. He is wearing a sweater. And you can see here a sweater that says property of Allah with an undershirt in the Iranian flag. I want to ask you about this. We had a tremendous amount of people come across the border, and I can't ignore this because this is just fact, Brett. There are a lot of people in this country. We don't know.
See, she brought up the border situation. Okay.
If they're being radicalized. Maybe some came in and they participated in that or led the way or have become something different while they're here. But it matters letting millions of people come in.
Oh, beautiful. Hey, Shalom, Ak. Yahweh Shema Shai Barakatah. Shalom. See your brother there, Shema. Let me get that precept. It's a good precept. This is Isaiah. All right, subscribe and be edified to this brother's page. Does good lessons, edifying lessons. But it says Isaiah 10:6. I will send him, okay, our enemy Esau, Edom, against a hypocritical nation. That's Israel. And against the people of my wrath, right? Paul also, I think Paul or Peter said that we were children of wrath when we were in the world. Okay. How much more wrath is going to be on us, or it's going to be on those Israelites that come into this truth, knowing they're Israelites, and as the scriptures say, have tasted of these heavenly gifts, okay, and have sold out. How much more wrath will come upon them? Yahweh Ratzos are of the elect. It says, against the people of my wrath, will I give him a charge to take the spoil, damn, and to take the prey, and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. You have to really take in the illustration the Lord has given. He could have gave any illustration to the prophet Isaiah, but he gave him the illustration of the mire of the streets is what I'm going to do to 2/3. I'm going to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Children, the elderly, okay, men, women, all of them. Serious, man. A lot. The majority of Israel do not understand the power in the heavens, Yahweh. But they're about to understand him. It says that the same shall know, okay, through death and pain, by death and pain, by death through pain, roughly paraphrasing. Most High Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai are nothing to play with, man. And these other camps, I was just thinking, these other camps, they're really like that, don't proclaim the name of the Lord and basically don't teach the truth. They're like Trojan horses, man. All right, they're Esau Edom's agents. They come and disguise themselves as Hebrew Israelites, but in their heart, they're still heathens. They're even more wicked than they were in the world now that they've been brought into the truth. Okay, and we know that this devil is going to use these Trojan horses, these different camps, and all the nonsense that they're going to be doing to tie us to it because it's prophecy. Okay, but the Lord is going to be with his whole full elect. Okay, let me finish this up, and then I got another precept, and that'll be it.
You have no way to vet them. And that's what happened under the Biden administration. We're catching up, but a lot of those people are still here. Your thoughts?
Well, with that, as well as what's going on overseas, there's been a seismic shift in global security, right? That regime over there in Iran is, fragile after decades of corruption. That border for years was a perfect place for the Iranian regime to send some of their proxy groups undetected. I don't know if you remember years ago, we almost had an attack in DC where Iranians were sent in to try and kill the Saudi ambassador at the time. There are humans out there that want to hurt us. And right now there is a complete structural shock to.
There are humans out there that want to hurt us, and we're out there in the forefront. In our garments, they are chanting down Babylon. Tahala Yahweh Shema Shai, man, it's going to get serious.
The Iranian regime
More
and their way
serious.
of life. Their internal system is highly centralized around this supreme leader, and that religious leader is gone. I think that was one of the reasons that President Trump initially had maybe held off the Israelis striking Khamenei because he was such a religious figure. But that's changed now. We've removed that node, and it's created this uncertainty inside the clerical establishment across the proxy networks globally, and we need to just pay attention for more attacks like this.
Okay, so let's get this precept. Luke 21, and let's start at 7. Let me get this in NLT. Luke 21:7. It reads, teacher, they asked, the disciples asking Yahushua, when will all this happen? What sign will show us that these things are about to take place? And he was talking about 70 AD, but it's prophetic as well, talking about this time now, okay, as well, that we're in. Okay, it says, he replied, don't let anyone mislead you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah, right? I'm a savior. Okay. And also that I have the truth. Like all these different Israelite camps and their leaders, they're coming in the name of the Messiah. They're saying that their doctrine is the truth to save you. Okay. It says, and saying the time has come, but don't believe them. Okay. It says, and if you're gonna have AI, false prophets, AI false prophets as well. Okay. AI is gonna, yeah, AI is gonna deceive a lot of people as it already has. Verse 9, and when you hear of wars, insurrections, don't panic. Yes, these things must take place first, but the end won't follow immediately. You see? We're not out, we're in World War III. We're not at the climax yet because the MOTB needs to be administered or it needs to be made mandatory. Then he added, nations will go to war against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be great earthquakes and there will be famines and plagues in many lands, and there will be terrifying things and great miraculous signs from heaven. That's heavy because there's about to be 3 eclipses. I gotta do a lesson on that, Lord willing, as well. So much lessons to do, man. Yeah, the 3 lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse. Let me see real quick. Yeah, Lord willing. Yeah, on the 3rd. That's funny
And then we're
because
looking.
these supposed to be 3 lunar eclipse, right? That's number 3 on March 3rd at 3:33 p.m. 3333. Yo, that's a heavy sign. On top of that, the Passover is literally in 4 weeks. So, anyways, signs in heaven, right? Signs in heaven. Verse 12. It says, but, and here's really the point, but before all this occurs, there will be a great time. There'll be a time of great persecution. Okay. You will be dragged into synagogues and prisons, and you will stand trial before kings, governors, because you are my followers. Okay? Persecution, demonization. But this will be your opportunity to tell them about me. Okay? Now, let's go to chat real quick for verse 12. I asked chat to tie this to the future as to where we are now. And this is what it said. Says Christ, but obviously I'm going to say Yahushua. Yahushua is painting a picture. Loyalty to him won't win applauses, right? The world has hated you, know that it hated me first. Yahushua is painting a picture. Loyalty to him won't win applause. It will attract pressure from systems of power. You see? Not mobs alone. Insurrections, courts, authorities, narrative makers. Okay, and it says the pattern Yahushua describes. Notice the machinery involved: arrest, public accusations, right? Is institutional judgment, political authority. This is not random hatred. This is organized legitimacy. Persecution in Luke 21 is not just violence, it is a reputation. It is reputation destruction. Yeah, see, demonization, reputation destruction, backed by authority. You are not merely attacked, you are labeled, processed, framed as dangerous, handed over for the greater good. That's the key. And that's how they're gonna sell it. This is for the greater good because of all the T attacks and the war and this, that, and the third, people dying. What we're saying, we're talking about slavery, you know, and all this stuff. So it's for the greater good. We gotta get rid of these people. They're dangerous. And we are dangerous to wicked people. All right. Okay. Right now we're fishers of men. We're not really that dangerous. We're just teaching the Bible, but we'll come down back as hunters, Lord willing, of the elect. Okay. Let's see. Okay. The modern mechanism, no chains required. Today, power rarely shows up with iron shackles. It shows up with media framing, psychological influence campaigns, social pressure, algorithmic amplification, right? The algorithm amplifying, all right, people's emotions and hatred, right? Cultural isolation. Ancient Rome used prison. Modern empires use perception. Okay, let's see. Let's skip down. Once that happens, society doesn't silence the rules. That's cleaner than persecution. Okay, so it says where psyops fit the pattern. Psychological operations aren't sci-fi. Sci-fi. They are simply structured narratives they are simply structured narrative control. Instead of saying we oppose believers, the system says they're intolerant, they're regressive, they're dangerous to social harmony. They spread harmful ideas. You see, everything that has been said about us and will continue to be said about us and will be amplified for the whole world to hate us. Beautiful. Because, excuse my French, but fuck this place. Okay. And all the people that love this place and love oppression. I'm talking about our people that love oppression. Forget 2/3 too. Okay. It says now persecution wears the costume of public safety. Okay. Luke 21 describes believers being handed over to authorities. In modern landscape, that looks like regulatory pressure, employment loss, right? Losing jobs. We always say about all this. This is why you got to build up your faith. Because everything we have that we're right now, we got the training wheels. Okay. Once this takes place, the training wheels comes off, Great Spirit is done. Okay. And now the hardest part about riding that bike when you didn't have the training wheels is balancing yourself on the bike. Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, and the fear of the Lord is his treasure. Okay. So build up your faith. Whatever talent you've been given, use it to build up your faith. Regulatory pressure, employment loss, social deplatforming. You see, right? We're not going to be out doing these lessons for too long. Legal scrutiny, cultural exile, not because of crime, but because of name association. Now you see why these different Israelite camps are um, taking themselves away from the name of the Heavenly Father and His Son, the true names, because they're insiders. They know what's coming down the pipe, and they don't want to be caught up in the persecution of Esau, Edom. But the Lord is going to laugh at them. They're going to get caught up anyways, because you're not hiding from the judgment of the Most High. You understand? Okay, so again, it says not because of crime, but because of name association. Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, as chat quotes, for my name's sake. Right? Damn, bro, you blowing up the chat. I can't even get all these priests. And it says not behavior. It says for my name's sake, not behavior, identity. Demonization as the gateway. Before authority moves, reputation must fall. Exactly. Before authority moves, reputation must fall. Historically, this has always been step one. Early Christians were called, right? True Christians are those that follow Yahweh Shai. Early Christians were called atheists and cannibals. Reformers, right, were branded traitors. Dissenters were labeled destabilizers. Power doesn't eliminate belief directly. It reframes it as antisocial, irrational, dangerous. Once belief is psychologically repositioned, right? Once belief is psychologically repositioned, all the agents, all right, in GMS, outside of GMS, in this Israelite thing of ours, right? That's what they're doing. They're trying to psychologically reposition the belief, but you won't sway the elect as a threat. Okay, once belief is psychologically repositioned as a threat, So our belief is going to be repositioned as a threat. Luke 21 outcomes becomes socially acceptable, right? Luke 21's outcomes become socially acceptable. So people agree. This is why, Yahushua says what he says. Let me go back there and I'll come back here. So it says, verse 12 again, Luke 21 and 12, NLT. But before all this occurs, there will be a time of great persecution. You will be dragged into synagogues and prisons, and you will stand trial before kings and governors because you are my followers. But this will be your opportunity to tell them about me. Okay? So don't worry in advance about how to answer the charges against you. For I will give you the right words and such wisdom that none of your opponents will be able to reply or refute you. Okay? In the King James, it says, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay or resist. Just like Yahushua, they had to lie on him, right? To get him to get him to be persecuted on the cross. They didn't have anything on him. That's the power of abiding in the simplicity of this truth. Okay? It says, verse 16, even those closest to you, your parents, brothers, relatives, and friends, right? And brothers in this truth, okay, will betray you. They will even kill some of you, right? So going back to chat, what it says, once belief is psychologically repositioned as a threat, Luke 21's outcome becomes socially acceptable. So this is why you're going to have your own families turn on you, because our belief is going to be repositioned, all right, to society as a threat, which is going to cause all your relatives, friends, even men in the truth to turn on you and to even kill some of the hopeful elect, man. Crazy, but beautiful at the same time. Why? Because we're in the know. We understand truly what's going on. And the elect, the Lord's going to be with the elect, okay, even if they have to be martyrs for this truth. There's nothing you can do against the truth but for it. Back here in Luke 21 and 17, NLT, and everyone will hate you because you are my followers, but not a hair of your head will perish. Damn. But not a hair of your head will perish by standing firm in your faith, not wavering. Okay? You will win your souls. Right? We will win our souls, which means we'll be crowned. Okay? We'll get the glory and reward that Yahushua got with Yahushua. Romans 8 and 16. If we're to suffer with him, we're also going to be glorified with him. Yahushua is of the elect. Okay, let me finish it up here in chat. People begin to say, we're not persecuting them, we're protecting society. That is persecution baptized in virtue language. We are not persecuting them, we're protecting society. That is persecution baptized in virtue language. They make it sound good. Okay? The forward arc, Yahushua didn't frame this as chaos, he framed it as inevitability. It's inevitable, okay? When belief refused to bow to dominant systems, whether political, economic, or ideological, tension follows, and the system responds in predictable ways. Marginalize, pathologize, criminalize, and neutralize. What the hell does pathologize means? See, here at GMS, we look up everything, man. What does this word mean?
Pathologize. Pathologize.
Pathologize, regarding to treat as psychologically unusual or unhealthy. Yeah, that's what they're gonna say. They're gonna pathologize. Damn.
Pathologize.
Pathologize. Pathologize. They're gonna pathologize us, criminalize us, and then neutralize. Luke 21 isn't just about ancient tribunals. It's about what happens whenever loyalty to divine authority collides with human structures that demand total allegiance by the way of the chip, right? The microchip, which is the MOTB, okay, the mark of the beast. Through prisons or public perception and method change the pattern. Okay, so that's it on that with chat. And that's it for me. Let me get some of this brother's precepts. I know they're fire. Let's see, man. Damn. Oof. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's get I'm gonna get a couple. Okay. Isaiah 29 and 21. That make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, right? And turneth aside the just for a thing not. Okay, so turn aside the just for a thing not. Again, they're gonna have to lie upon us. And it's funny because they're laying these traps, but through the Rakakadash, the Holy Spirit, we've been able to see them. So really, are they traps for the whole full elect? No. They're gonna be traps for those that are not the elect. Second Ezra 16 and 40, my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle. By what? By girding up your faith. All right. And in those evils be as pilgrims upon the earth. That's right. No attachment, no attachment. Our attachment is to Yahweh Bashim Shai and the kingdom of heaven, man. That's why the Lord told us that, right? Wherever your heart is, that's where your desires will be as well. Okay. Store up riches for yourselves in heaven. Second Ezra 16 and 41. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. Exactly. Okay. Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, because there's always going to be provisions. Even if you go 2-3 days without eating, whatever the situation is, remember the scriptures. The Lord never puts us through any situation that we can't handle. And if we endure through faith, okay, and obedience, he's always going to make a way out, make a way for us to escape. Okay, provisions, man. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall, who's trying you then? Is it really Esau Edom, or is it the Most High Yahweh or Yahweh Shai? You see? It's the Most High Yahweh or Yahweh Shai trying you. Okay? That ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Not exactly, it could be, but it's just a certain amount of time. Okay? Be thou slacker. Okay, you have the other part down. It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Faithful unto death, man. That's another thing, and we always tell you here at GMS to surround your mind and root your faith in the resurrection, okay, of Yahweh Shai. If you can't get past death in this ministry, you're not going to overcome, all right, the MOTB, all right, you're not going to overcome. You're going to be succumbed. You won't overcome, but you'll be succumbed, all right? Look at our forefathers. Abraham was about to kill his son, right? Thrust that knife right through his belly. Angel stopped him, but it tells us that he in his mind reasoned that the Most High can raise up his son back again. So his faith was rooted, all right, in resurrection. And who was that boy? Isaac. In the spirit, we know that's Yahweh Shai in the reincarnation coming back. That's heavy, man. All right. Pray, 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 pray. Use every tool and talent that Yahweh Bashim Shai is giving you to strengthen your faith. Because the more faith you have, the more fear of the Lord you're going to have. You can't fear something you don't believe in. All right. And the more fear of the Lord you have, the more diligent, obedient that you're going to be. Hence, the more the Holy Spirit is going to work with you. Hence, your faith is going to grow. It's all going to be a beautiful loop. So, let us work out our salvation with fear and trembling, man. So that's it. Lord willing, this lesson was straightforward and edifying. Okay. On to the whole full elect. Oh, shoot. Let me just Let me end off with this precept. Salak, this is a good precept. These two precepts. The second Ezra 2:27. Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorry, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance, man. Okay. Second Ezra 1:32. Sent unto you my servants the prophets, whom ye have taken and slain, and torn their bodies in pieces, whose blood I, the Most High Yahweh Shai, will require at your hands, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim El Shai, man. All right, I'm gonna give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Okay, and I've taught me this word in truth and sincerity. Peace and mercy to the whole full elect, starting with 144,000. All right, that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Okay, and as well as to the rest of the whole full elect. Abba Kwama Sha'ala. All right, and shalom to the whole full elect. Lord willing, this lesson was straightforward and edifying.